It's berry season, and back with us in studio is Chef Brian Henry from the Ontario Berry Growers Association. It's so nice to have you back with us.
Yeah, it's great to be back again.
So the last time you were here, you made a delicious dessert for us with raspberries and strawberries and blueberries.
That's right.
And we're going from dessert to main course appetizer.
Pretty much. I'm going to look at constructing a salad today with a few components to it. I'm going to start off with taking some mixed greens. I'm going to take a little bit of oil.
And the nice thing, Brian, about mixed green is it's not, I mean, most of us are so used to having iceberg lettuce, whereas this here, just a little too much, but that's okay. Was that balsamic vinegar?
That was balsamic vinegar.
We like balsamic vinegar here.
So this is good.
But it's nice when you have the mixed salad because you get the radicchio in there, you get the endive in there, and there's different kinds of varieties.
There is. There's anywhere between 7 and 12 varieties that usually show up in the spring mix that you can buy in the stores.
Okay.
And they have a lot of different textures and flavors that go with them, from sweet to bitter. So they tend to balance each other out quite well.
And color presentation,
color
beautiful.
presentation is wonderful. And usually the organic ones have already been washed for you, so there's little very work.
I was just going to say I do buy that. I buy the organic one in the little plastic container, so
They're
it's
perfect.
already done. I can just grab what I need.
And they hold up really well in the refrigerator too.
They do.
So
and you've got here goat cheese?
I do have goat cheese here, and I've got some toasted sliced almonds, which I'm just going to crush up kind of coarsely.
Okay.
I'm just going to lightly encrust the goat's cheese in the almonds.
And why did you pick goat cheese?
It has a nice bitter flavor, and the bitterness is going to stand up really well against the sweetness of the fresh raspberries.
And a hint too for people out there who are watching calories and watching their weight, I understand that goat cheese is a nice cheese to have because it's lighter and less calories, less fat.
Exactly, and it's also a little bit easier to digest versus other cheeses that are available on the market.
Look at how quick you're doing this.
Yeah. Now I'm just doing this cold. If you choose, you can set it onto a baking sheet and put it into the oven for about 5 minutes just to soften up the goat's cheese. But in today's warm summer weather, we don't have to worry about that too much.
And Brian, can you use other kinds of nuts besides the almonds if you didn't want to?
You can use any sort of nut that you choose. I prefer to use almonds because they seem to be the most common one that you don't get a food allergy to.
Okay.
So if you have guests coming over, it's usually a friendly one that you can use. I'm just going to set a couple of raspberries on here.
Look at how beautiful that looks.
And it's nice and simple to do.
Right, and I'm just thinking right now all the ideas that are coming to my head with the goat cheese, with the almonds, you could easily put that on a cracker if you wanted to, or just with some fruit.
Exactly, it works very well. So now I'm just going to take some blueberries. These ones are wild blueberries, which come from a low bush that grows close to the ground.
Okay.
They're a lot smaller than some of the commercially farmed strawberries, or sorry, blueberries. Just a little bit.
And Brian, I know that blueberry season is coming up. It's next month, is that right?
Yes, it is. Late August, early September.
And of course, for viewers at home, if you're looking at places where you can go and pick blueberries, there is a website that you can go to, and we're going to be putting that up on the screen for you. And they can find out the various farms within Ontario.
That's right. And some of them have pick your own, and some of them have berries that are already picked for you that you can choose from.
And Brian, but when it comes to wild blueberries, can you pick wild blueberries, or is it just the regular ones that you pick?
It's usually just the regular ones that you're going to find in the farms. They're the high bush, and they tend to be a little bit larger than the wild ones.
Okay.
They're juicier. They have a lot more content of water and such in them, where with the wild ones, they're small little nuggets, and they hold a lot of flavor in them. I find them sweeter and not as juicy. So if you're going to be cooking with them, they hold up better, where if you use a high bush berry, because they're so large and the concentrated water in it, they tend to go a little bit soggy after you cook with it. They're better fresh.
And of course, you can find them at the farms too. It's just you're not picking your own.
Exactly.
Now, you've plated this dish for us. Tell us what type of
What I've placed on here is some grilled elk, and this is Ontario raised elk. Just lightly grilled it off. I use a grill pan, which is similar to frying, but because of the high heat that I'm using, it sears it quite well, which is similar to barbecuing, so you can produce on your barbecue. You could use lamb, you could use beef if you chose to, pork or chicken as well.
Where do you find elk?
This one here came up from in the Kawartha, is where I live.
Okay, and does it take very long to cook?
Not at all. It's the same as cooking as beef. You're going to run the same temperature times and whatnot for cooking it, and it holds up really well. It's a little bit leaner than beef and a little bit healthier for you.
Beautiful dish right here. Look at that.
And so we've taken the blueberries and I've reduced them down in a little bit of maple ice wine, which comes from a winery up in the Kawarthas as well.
And ice wine is like a dessert wine, right?
It is, yes. And this is using maple syrup in it, though, so it has a whole different flavor component to it. And we just drizzled that on there.
Beautiful, look at that. Now let's quickly talk about the raspberries here. These came from Watson's farm?
Yes, they did. They're nice and ripe. Good thing to look for is when you're getting your berries, you want to make sure that the center isn't sided or the core. When you pull them off and the hull comes right out, that means that they're perfectly ripe and ready for eating.
Okay, and of course you can start picking berries right now. Raspberries are
Exactly.
in season.
The raspberry season's come on very strong this year. We still have late season strawberries that are coming on, and they'll be coming on for another 3 to 4 weeks, depending on the varieties the growers are actually growing.
And again, for people out there who want to pick a whole bunch and they want to store them in the freezer, what's the correct way of doing it so that when you get them out of the freezer, they're not soggy and they still taste good?
The best thing to do is if you can lay them out onto a wax sheet of paper or onto a silpat, which is like a silicone sheet, not have them touching each other, put them into the freezer, let them freeze down, and then you can bag them up in Ziploc bags and bring them out in portion sizes that you need.
And again, we mentioned this the last time, but we're going to say it again to our viewers at home because I like to do this. I'm not saying our viewers do this, but I do. When you go to pick berries, you are allowed to sample, but the key question here is it's sample, right? You can't have a meal.
This is correct. It is sampling. You have to be realistic about it. Berry growers are in business to make money, and if we're in the fields eating their profits, they will stop. Pick your own berries. So obviously have respect for the grower and what they're doing.
Okay, so strawberries still in season, raspberries still in season, or in season right now I should say, and blueberries we can look forward to in August.
Yes.
Okay, great dish again. Thank you so much. So simple to make and
very easy.
Smells so good, and again a great way of combining wild blueberries with raspberries within your meat component.
Yes.
We like it. Thank you, Brian, as always. And for more information, you can visit the website up on the screen to find out where you can pick all your fruits and vegetables at your local farms.